Okay everybody, here's my 1972 Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. I just wanted to showcase it today and talk a little bit about the vehicle. Since I'm listing it on eBay, I know that people that are interested in these types of vehicles like to drive them, like to actually get out and look at them, and it's difficult sometimes being across the country or a long distance away. So I'm going to show the vehicle on a short little video clip. There'll be a couple segments here that I'm going to try to tie in together. So we'll start on the front with the suspension. I'll go back and give you a little history first. I bought the car in 2007 from Arizona. It was a fairly dry climate where the vehicle was at, and there was a little bit of cancer, which is very common in these vehicles back here in the corners, which I had prepared. And there is now here in California, since I keep it pretty much a dry climate, there's no rust back here. That's all been taken care of. I'll also have some photographs attached in these areas to show that this has all been repaired and it's cancer free. Other than that, the vehicle is essentially rust free. We'll go underneath the vehicle here shortly and get some video of the undercarriage. It's been pretty much taken care of the last 10 years. I haven't essentially taken it off-road except for a couple trails, but nothing extreme, no rock crawling or anything like that. The vehicle, when I first got it, was essentially all original. It had the original straight six in it. Since then there's been a V8 conversion to it, in addition to an NV4500 5-speed transmission. The axles are all original. I have put Wheelwood disc brakes on the front. That was probably about 500 miles ago. Great improvement along with the new master cylinder. Brake flush, and the brakes work great, which I'm going to demonstrate here shortly. Back to the front end, it's all been replaced. The suspension, tie rod ends, bushings, shocks, stabilizer, all that's been replaced with old man EMU components. Leaf springs, shocks, again the stabilizer. A power steering unit has been also installed. This is a Iron Pig unit, which was about $2,500, and I installed it myself. You can see here the proper hardware. It's grade 8 hardware that was recommended with the kit, and the sleeves that are in the chassis are welded in place in here behind these bolts, so it's not just bolted in, it's got the actual sleeves in the unit. Works great. The wheels and tires, these are the Goodyear Wrangler Kevlar tires. They're 35-inch tires. They're mounted on the 15 by 10 American Racing ATX Mojave Teflon coated wheels, which hold up very nicely. We'll go back around this side here. I've got the winch mounted bumper that I'm going to leave that up to somebody else to install any kind of winch of their preference. Never got around to that, but it does have a 130 amp alternator, which would accommodate any kind of lighting or other accessories. The winch, maybe an onboard compressor if you wish. Here is the high lift jack that I installed here. It's kind of a homemade deal. It actually works really well. It's a great place to mount it. It's up out of the way. It's got this bracket here that mounts to the windshield. It's got this locking device here that's got a key that will unlock it so no one can steal it unless they really wanted it. They have to work at it. But anyway, it's pretty solid to the vehicle. It's not going anywhere. So I've got that. Moving on to the back is a tire rack. It's got the correct tire and wheel that also is on the vehicle. It's got a nice little Igloo cooler that matches the paint scheme. As far as the electrical goes on the vehicle, it's essentially all original. Everything works except I am having some issues with some of the turn signals. The headlights, the hazards, all the other electrical components work, windshield wipers, instrument cluster, all that works fine on the vehicle. The paint it as a 50-foot paint job. I have to agree. It will need, if you so choose, if you're concerned with aesthetics on a vehicle like this, probably paint down the line if you wish. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on the paint job because I had intentions of off-roading this vehicle, and I didn't want to put $10,000 or so into a paint job. So anyway, it shows nice. It looks nice. I was more concerned with the overall performance and reliability of the vehicle. That's where I essentially put most of the money into it. So new drive shafts, I wanted to include that too, is when we did the transmission upgrade. So here's the interior. The seats are the original to the vehicle. I've had them reupholstered. They're in excellent condition. There's no tears, rips, just a couple years old, but they're in really good shape. I took out the jump seats just for safety purposes. I didn't want my daughter riding on those if we went off-roading. So I put this bench seat back here. Works great. I've got the harnesses. I also have harnesses for the front. They're 5-point, and but for driving around every day and around town, I installed these 3-point shoulder belts that work great instead of the lap belts that it came with for safety. The dash is pretty original to the vehicle. Everything works on it. We had the speedometer calibrated when we did the transmission, so it's accurate going down the road. So everything's original on the dash. It's got the original heater core box to the front. Heater works great. No air conditioning in the unit, but you roll the windows down and you kind of suck it up. I took the rear heater mount out. That's been removed from the vehicle. It's got the family cage installed. Had that professionally welded in and put in. It's got a new headliner, fire extinguisher, and so we're going to end this segment with the exterior and interior of the vehicle, and then we're going to show you the engine component and talk a little bit about that here in a short while. But let me get underneath the vehicle because I promised you guys that I would do that just to show it. So can't really make out to it too much, but it's got dual exhaust all the way back until we get into the single muffler. Things get a little tight on these vehicles with the chassis and the beefed up axles and all that, so we were limited on some options with that, but it sounds great, performs wonderfully. It's got the stock fuel tank in the vehicle. We do have, while I'm down here I'm going to get it, Sanderson headers on the motor, high quality aftermarket header system. New slave cylinder, new clutch, the transmission, my guess is probably around under 5,000 miles on it. Same with the motor and tires. Brakes only have about 500 on them. So anyway, there you have it. It's got the original top. A little rough on the outside, but like I said, wasn't too concerned about that. I was more concerned about the drivability, which I think when I show you the video on that, you'll be impressed. And if you are fortunate enough to be in this area, you need to test drive it, I think you'll be even more impressed. So, all right, so I'm going to end this segment, and we're going to get into the motor of the vehicle.